Welcome to the No Plan B podcast. I'm Jean-Philippe, your host, and my guests are coming to this show not to sell any product, but to tell us the story. I want to know who they are, where they're coming from, what kind of kids they were. At the end of the day, we're all unique snowflakes. So let's get them here and let's learn. Welcome to the No Plan B podcast. I'm Jean-Philippe, your host, and today we are getting on stage a true warrior. Honestly, I've often thought that in our society there is struggle, or some people are struggling more than others. But the story you're going to listen today is honestly a struggle, and this is the true spirit of a warrior. So let me get my guest, Elena Krail, on the stage today. She's from Ukraine, and let's get started. Elena,
Hi.
welcome to the No Plan
Thank
B
you.
podcast. Today it's my
Thank you.
honor. Folks, you're listening to the podcast and you're watching this podcast, but originally we're not supposed to see Elena's face, but look what you're missing if that was the case. So I'm very happy that you're comfortable being on camera with all the struggle you had in life. They don't show on your face for sure, but I'm so thrilled to have you here. You are a warrior, but the true warrior in terms of mindset, resilience, and spirit. And I think that we all on this planet have to learn some things from you. So I'm not going to tell your story because you know it way better than me, and you have probably way more details than me, even if I read everything that I could about your journey. Elena, I suggest that you start by introducing yourself and telling us where you're coming from, where you're going. If we can say we try to know where we're going, but we don't always know it. But anyway, and just a brief on the whole struggle of your life and why you want to join this podcast as well, because I think that there's so much to learn on this mindset you have. Go.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Elena. I'm 42 years old. I am originally from Ukraine. I came to US in 96. I was already almost 16 years old then. I lived all over US, few different states, and I got Lyme disease while I've lived in US. So currently I'm living in California and feeling much better, but I've been through hell basically.
Of course.
Yes, and I'm trying to tell my story to raise more awareness about the illness, but also about different treatment options that people can try and hopefully get better, because it's such a terrible illness. It hits you. It hits anybody really. You're really not prepared for something like this, and it's really important to know how bad it can get
and how you get through it without
yes,
going through all the system that doesn't know how to solve this problem. But
absolutely.
you were born in Ukraine.
Yes.
And one of the major facts that people have to understand and get into their mind and put in perspective from everything that you're going to say after these words is that you have been exposed to radiation from Chernobyl.
Correct. 1986. We had Chernobyl accident, and a lot of people were exposed. I was living in Kiev at the time. Nobody told us anything. Government kind of kept the lid on the whole accident. So, we were living our lives, not knowing. And my parents didn't know anything, and we were all out and about during that time until, they couldn't really keep that a secret. And
it took a couple of years before it was kind of released. I lived in Alsace near Strasbourg at that time, and they said in France they were saying that the radiation stopped at the border, like magical stuff.
So silly,
Yeah.
Yeah, Europe was the first one that said, a lot of countries in Europe said, "Hey, what's happening out there? You were showing all this radiation. Where is it coming from?" And USSR at the time was like, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
It took them a while to admit, what happened.
Yeah, and I do remember that, in European countries, there are like a lot of people are going into the wood and forest, and they are like mushroom hunters.
Yes.
Not just smokers, but hunters. And for a couple of years, people were keep eating. They kept eating mushrooms, where we do know that radiation stay for a long, long time on mushrooms and all the spores that comes after and years after years. So the impact of that was gigantic, but the impact of these radiation were even worse on you personally. Yes. So tell us about what you think that this kind of exposure to radiation triggered into your body, because you've been suffering years after years after year. You know what? This is the thing. It doesn't look when we look at you, but when we put it in perspective, and people will learn this whole path for recovery that brought you up to where you are now, has not been an easy job at all.
No, it hasn't been. And, I almost gave up a few times, I have to tell you. But, I'm here and I'm happy
Thanks God.
to be here and speak to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, radiation is something that, I was exposed to. And, I talked to a lot of my doctors about it. And, they all say, we don't have proof that's why you're sick, but it probably was one of the issues that, one of the causes of lowering your immune system, so it wasn't working as well. So I wasn't able to fight off Lyme or any other co-infection when I was exposed to it.
Yeah, and you had difficulties to walk.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
yes, go ahead.
No, Elena, you're my guest. You go ahead.
Yeah, so after I got my Lyme, I did lose my walking ability and standing and talking. I was mostly bedridden and really pretty bad.
So did that stop you for having a real life? Like everybody on this planet so far, it's probably going to change one day, but wake up in the morning, go outside, go to work, come back, cook, go to sleep, and the routine is installed, and they spend their weekend there and there. How was your life as a kid, and then growing up, and then you've been exposed to those radiation? You were very young. The following years, you didn't feel anything, I guess, but
yeah. So radiation. Chernobyl happened in 1986. I was there for 10 more years before coming to United States, constantly getting exposed to something, right? Through food, water, air. I mean, it doesn't go away. Kyiv is pretty close to Chernobyl. When I came to United States, I was pretty healthy. I know I would say, I was a gymnast in Ukraine a long time ago. So when I came to United States, I joined volleyball team, I continued my dancing career. So, I was really into sports, pretty good. And then around 99 is when I started having these weird symptoms, like joint pain and fatigue. And, I was 19 years old, I was pretty young, but I'm thinking, okay, it must have been my gymnastics training, because they train us so hard in USSR, so I thought my body was just breaking down from that. I wasn't putting anything together other than, my gymnastics past. So, the joint pain, the fatigue, then all of these weird rashes, but, I kept going, I was in school, I was in college, I was working, type A personality, and then slowly my symptoms deteriorated, and then the brain fog turned, so badly that I couldn't really process a lot of information in college. So, that's when I started thinking that there's something wrong with me. But of course, I went to the doctors and they didn't know what was wrong with me. They said, I was depressed and my joint pain was Probably from gymnastics.
Yeah,
They
of
couldn't
course.
really give me answers,
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody could give me answers, and then my health started just deteriorating.
And do you think that because you were a gymnast and you were into sport, it delayed the whole process?
Um, well, I led a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I think that's what really helped me. I ate a pretty good diet, I wasn't a huge drinker, just some recreational stuff. So I think that kind of helped me delay it more. But few things happened along the way that I think made me way worse. And that was mold exposure. We had a huge flood in the house in Connecticut that kind of I didn't know what to do with it because I was young.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's like, okay, we get flooded.
Yeah, and still today, many people don't know what to do.
Right, right. So, but then eventually that turned into a huge mold issue that, kept breathing. And then I had a gas leak in a fireplace in a master bedroom. And, it was very slow and also didn't know about it. I wasn't
Impact
feeling
of,
good
yeah.
and I was constantly getting exposed to that. So it was just like one thing after another, there was also a lot of dental issues I had where I went to the dentist and he put Mercury amalgams in me. So it was just like one thing after
After the
another.
other.
Yeah, and then, the bucket is full and then the body just breaks down.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that it's related to luck?
Luck. Bad luck, maybe.
Yeah, that's what yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just
because,
about that.
yeah, it's interesting. Today there's so many people thinking that send the message to the universe and it will get back to you. And when you hear that, sounds like super easy, like, yeah, bad luck doesn't exist. But you got them one after the other, accumulated,
Exactly.
cumulative effect. And I'm pretty sure with your mindset, you were sending messages to the universe, but the universe didn't listen.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, it was one bad thing after another, and and then I couldn't drive. I couldn't, my walking got worse. I couldn't dance anymore. I couldn't do any of the sports. I was doing yoga at the time and I couldn't do standing poses. I kept saying to my teacher, I need to lay down. It was just really bizarre to me, like my heart wasn't working well, like it was hurting me all the time. So all these symptoms just got way worse. Eventually I had to drop out of my grad school. I was in psychology grad school. I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't see patients. I couldn't study. Like I was just, I thought I would take a year off, focus on my health and go back, but that didn't happen. It just kept getting worse.
Just kept rolling down the hill.
Yeah.
Then
Yep.
it's incredible because you must have felt like your life stops in
Completely.
some
Completely.
and from where you were before, dancing, moving, gymnast, to not capable of moving, not even standing up, and that must be like very scary.
It was
And
soul crushing. Like I lost everything.
yeah, from there you start going to doctors, I guess, but you're not getting any answer.
No, yes, unless you go to the right doctors. That's when I really started digging and going to more functional medicine doctors, to get to the bottom of my issues.
Okay, Elena, so this is a crucial point now. You said until I got to see some functional medicine or doctors or this type of doctors. Why did you go that way and not another way? Because you tried everything else before and you were already convinced that it was the only solution for you to go to.
Yes, it was, a few of my friends started suggesting a few doctors that they knew, who helped them. Somebody I know had chronic fatigue syndrome, and she said, well, go see my doctor in the city in New York. So, that's kind of was my first introduction to a functional medicine doctor. And I started going that way.
Well, if you allow me a joke, but in New York, chronic fatigue, it's a common syndrome.
It
Like
is. Yes.
at the pace these guys are running and doing stuff, it's like, of course, they get tired faster than
Yes.
others.
Yes.
But joke on the side. So you started by seeing this doctor, and did you kind of saw light in what was happening, or you kept going down and going down over the
Still kept
years?
going down. He ran a lot of different testing that regular doctors would not run, So I was happy about that. He really was digging for the underlying issues. He found a lot of heavy metals in me.
Oh.
And at the time I had my Mercury amalgams.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of the first thing he said I should do, was to remove my my fillings. And I found a biological dentist in Connecticut. And I removed it thinking, oh my God, I'm going to feel so much better after this. And I did not. I got worse.
That was not the only
I
one.
got worse. So, and then, he kept digging for other things. I had to do DMPS chelation therapy, to detox all these heavy metals from the body, because they were stored in various tissues and organs. So he was suggesting, I should do this IV therapy. So I was going that way, He also found some infections underneath, Epstein-Barr, the usual that gets that people get when they're struggling,
Yeah. And the more you struggle, the more you get exposed to those infections, and your immune system getting weaker and weaker.
Correct.
Of course. And to go back to heavy metals and these things, they say in fishes, for years after they got in the ocean, and even with the food chain, removing them from the body, from human, is a challenge. It's a true challenge. And when you think about the fact that our dentists have been poisoning our society for years, this is insane. Yeah.
Oh my God, the dentistry is just absolutely horrific, what they've been putting into our mouths. And kids too.
Yeah, and kids, because I do remember when I was a kid having those type of feelings. They got removed like years and long years after, decades after, decade. But I think it's the same for pharma. They keep poisoning, and then we trying to find a cure or treating what is behind it. So what age were you at that time?
That was my early 20s when I was really trying to fight this, on the East Coast. Eventually, seeing a Lyme doctor, upstate New York, getting diagnosed with Lyme and a few co-infections. But, his treatments, I decided not to do because they were very heavily into antibiotics and things like that. And I wasn't ready to do that.
They're very close to drastic chemical compounds.
Yes. And that's somebody who, each of us have to make that decision, the route that we go with, for treatment. Do you go with Western or Eastern, or you do combination? And this guy was really, really into Western, and I wasn't prepared to do that.
Yeah. So you're in the 20s when people are going party and dancing, you stay home.
And I'm in bed.
You're in bed.
Yeah.
Not for the same reason, but you're in bed.
Yes. Wrong reasons.
Wrong reasons.
Yes.
So you spent few years in that bed.
Yes. And, going, eventually moving to Ohio to see another doctor who was really into holistic methods. But also suffering pretty badly, trying a lot of homeopathics, trying to go, this route, and, feeling a little bit better, but still not drastic change, like there was something missing. I felt like
having this, going from doctor to doctor to doctor, must be first exhausting, but financially it's a huge impact.
Oh, huge. I mean, people don't realize. Yes, how much, and insurance companies will not cover anything, even antibiotic treatments for Lyme treatment. It will not cover, beyond a certain point. So patients are stuck with all these bills. and inability to get proper treatment. It's absolutely horrific.
It is. Can I ask you, because it's no plan B, what was your plan?
Well, I usually have few plans. It was plan A, plan B, and plan C because I'm a planner.
Yeah.
But, for me, I really kept opening my mind to different types of treatments, like I would try anything, and a lot of them weren't working, a lot of holistic ones were just making me sicker,
Yeah.
So, but with my mindset, I always want to try something new, I try not to lose hope, even though it's very, very easy. Eventually, my health, it was getting better to a point where I was able to walk a little more, drive. And I overdid it. I pushed myself.
Okay.
I thought that I was doing so much better.
Ouch.
Yes, I got myself in huge trouble about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I was already in a Bay Area in San Francisco, where I drove a car and I walked a little bit. And the next day I woke up like a bus ran me over. Everything came back 100 times worse.
Like a slam in the face.
Yes, the relapse was horrific. And it put me in the most horrific position. That's when I actually lost my reading ability. I stopped being able to talk other than few words here and there, Also reading, I could read, like a text, or something like that, very, very small amount without really crashing again. Understanding, I lost it again. So like completely got fried. And I had to restart completely from again. That was my lowest point. It was like,
Where did you find that energy? Most people are giving up after a flu.
Well,
true.
Yes, that's true. Well, I laid there. It took me a while, a few weeks where I was just like kind of waiting. I thought I was really gonna recover, I was really resting and I was trying to implement everything I've learned and nothing was working. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in real trouble this time, like I need to do something very, very drastic. And that, I couldn't really even go see a new doctor because I was so sick. I was like, how do I even go to see somebody? Because I can't even have a conversation. How can I even ask for somebody for help where, I can't even function? And I couldn't even get my blood results together, to even bring to a doctor. Everything was just too much for me at the time. And that's when I reached out to a health coach, actually. And I asked her if she would help me because I was like, I need help. And being in a chronic fatigue area for most of my years, I knew a lot about that, but I was really wanting to take care of the Lyme issue,
Because I'm sorry to interrupt, but because for you, the Lyme issue was the one that was triggering all the other symptoms that they were probably underlying somewhere or like almost put it to sleep. Yeah.
Yes. So I reached out to her and, I texted her actually I emailed and I said, do you take new patients? Her name is Daisy White. I said, Daisy, are you? Yeah.
She was on my podcast.
Oh, she was? Okay. Yes. You know her.
Yes. We are still editing the podcast. It was a nice, interesting
discussion.
Great. Absolutely. Great. I didn't know. Wow. That's
yes.
For me.
Yes. And I knew she was in the Lyme area and I knew she had a lot of knowledge from there. And I thought she would, really help me this way. I'm kind of a person that I try not to ask for help, which is very terrible for me.
Yeah, well,
when you're really bad,
Yeah, I don't know. There are some people with this mindset. I'm part of them as well. Like trying first to use all the resources you have, and ultimately, if you are really stuck, you're gonna ask for help. But it's a struggle.
Yes,
I agree. Yeah.
So when I reached out to Daisy, I emailed her and I said, "Do you take any patients?" I didn't, and she, she said she reached out and she's like, I would like to talk to you. And I said, I can't even talk. Like I'm this bad. So
Wow.
she was like, well, what if you don't like the sound of my voice? I said, I'll take my chances, and and she flew out. She flew out to Bay Area and to meet with me. And I couldn't believe it that we knew the same things, we were kind of in the same mindset. And I thought it was such a great fit. So she was the one who kind of helped me gather all my blood work and kind of guide me to where I need to go next. And she was the one who actually said, you need to take care of your dental issues.
Dental issues, yeah.
Yes, that I never fully dealt with the other biological dentist in Connecticut. I had the implant. They were not implants, but they were metallic posts in my front teeth. And she was like, "This is a huge issue." I had cavitations. I had root canals. She was like, "This is the first thing you need to handle to do this."
To go back to this situation of these, we were super fast to make the mask mandatory during COVID. The government knows, knows about this issue of heavy metals and things in dental amalgam and fix. Why don't we just make it mandatory? Have everyone on this in this society have their things removed, and just it's going to cost less to the system in the long run. I just don't get it.
I know. It's yes. And so that was one of the first things I did. I flew out to Swiss Bio Health in Switzerland, and I did my surgery. They believe in all-in-one concept. So they did everything in one day. It was 9.5-hour surgery where they put me under. But they did it all at once. I was sleeping. I didn't know what was happening.
You were not moving anyway. Wow.
Yes, they did a great job. And there's nothing like this in the United States, unfortunately, or I don't know about it yet.
Yeah, it's starting slowly. There are specialists and local, but with the capacity of running that for 9 hours and doing everything at the same time, I don't think so, as far as I know.
Right. And a lot of dentists, I believe, are starting to learn the technique from Dr. Waltz, who owns the clinic. And they have a huge program, aftercare program, which I really love. They do great IVs they have hyperbaric oxygen chamber. They have craniosacral therapy. They do all kinds of things to rebuild the body after surgery, to make sure you're okay. So the healing is on a much better level.
All these healers and healing techniques that you mentioned, now we call them biohack.
Correct.
Yeah, that's fun. I don't know if they're really biohacks, but they're hacks in a way. But they help. Hyperbaric chamber, definitely. IV, I do IVs even if I'm not sick. Just to get every time I fly, I come back and I do an IV for sure. Hydration. It's for everything that is related to hydration. Actually, is so important for any type of issues or illness that you can have. One of the questions that pops up in my mind right now is, so when you were sick, from my knowledge, were you thinking about drinking water, or you were just drying like a plant?
Well, hydration, yes, that's such a huge issue for a lot of patients. And drinking, good water, not just,
Right. Correct.
Yes, it's very, very important. Actually, that's something that I've been doing right now is drinking deuterium depleted water. And that's something that's actually been helping me.
That's a very good one. Hydrogen water, deuterium depleted.
Yeah.
There are fantastic tools to improve minerals to add it to water. Right. Yeah. Because it's another source of poisoning as well, like tap water with the mercury and antibiotics and
antibiotics. There's so much other toxins.
My goodness, you can try to filter them, but it doesn't work very well.
Right. Yes, at my house I filter it all out. So at least when I'm showering or bathing, I know it's as clean as possibly I can get, but I would not drink that water.
Yeah, no,
No,
no.
no
It's
way.
good for the toilet.
I don't even let my dog drink that water. No, no.
No, that's a good thing. Absolutely. You're right. So, jumping from hyperbaric chamber, IVs, and things like that, have you ever experienced stem cell?
Stem cells, yes, yes. I've done stem cells IVs as well as exosomes. I actually went to Panama many years ago to do stem cells there. I have to say, I didn't feel a great,
No?
no. And I'm wondering if it was in the wrong time in my healing journey. Like my body wasn't optimized to
Mm,
receive the stem cells, wasn't ready to use them all up, maybe. I do not know.
could be.
Yeah, something that's still on my mind and I would like to try again, for sure.
I'm very curious about that. They were like not local injection of stem cell. It was a general one.
IV.
Yeah,
Yeah,
IV.
yeah.
Yeah,
From cord
yeah.
blood. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Wow. It's difficult because like the differentiation of the stem cell then maybe just not happening for some reason. Yeah.
Yes, possibly. Yes.
Yeah.
But when I was there, I met a lot of moms with their autistic kids, and they were talking about huge benefit for them. So,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
believe, you have to do it in a certain time during your healing journey. So, whatever treatments that haven't worked for me, I don't just write them off. I was saying, okay, it didn't work at the time. I
At the
was
time.
willing to try again.
Yeah, yeah, because if you don't have the capacity to heal, you can do whatever you want. It's not gonna go back. Our
Right.
body is a machine that tries its best, but you need certain elements to be in place at the right time, the right moment. So you could. This is why I'm not a big believer in this magic pill that pharmaceutical industry is trying to bring to the world. It's because there is no easy fix.
There's yeah.
No.
And unfortunately, in our a lot of new generation believes that there is a magic pill and things will get fixed very easily.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's not how life works.
Yeah.
You have to go at it from all different angles, and you have to, you really have to do the work yourself.
Yeah, we have the capacity to do it, but it's a long run, and so we've been talking about those things, cleaning up the metals, IV. You went through stem cell, hyperbaric chamber. How old are you at that during this process? Like we started at 19. Now in the process, we are at. You're 42 today.
Well, I'm still not fully healed, I have to say. I'm still.
I have to say, when I look at you, I cannot say that. You look absolutely outstanding. So you're close to be there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I'm on
yeah.
I'm on my way. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I have a great team, of people who are helping me, great doctors, great treatments. I am planning to go back to Europe to do more treatments there,
What
at
kind
the
of?
clinic.
Yeah.
Well, one of the treatments I did was that really, really helped me actually. Last year, I went to Germany in the middle of nowhere to do immunopheresis, which is a blood plasma purification process where, they basically can help you detox. Dr. Strobe is the one who created this particular one. And I went to see him and did the treatment at his clinic. And it was 2 rounds where they hook me up to the machine and take they take your whole blood and then they
clean it up.
Clean it up through the machine. And then they test the plasma to see what was inside. And my report said huge heavy metals, aluminum, mercury, things like that. But they also remove things like inflammatory markers. So, the inflammation goes down. So for people like with arthritis and things like that, this treatment could really, really help. And I have to say, after that treatment, I started getting much, much better.
Right after it, or
no, it was like it took like about a month or so, and I started noticing, like, oh my God, and that's when I started to listen to music. I started being able to
reconnect the brain,
talk more, reconnect with the world, and it just lowered my toxicity, and the body started to come back to life. So I really would love to go back and do that, Dr. Klinghardt does it
Good idea.
himself.
Yeah.
Yes, and he suggests doing it once a year anyway, because we live in a toxic world,
We do. Yeah. Yeah.
We
I
do.
mean,
There's so much we can do to avoid it at home.
but still, if you live in the city, it's hard to avoid toxicity.
It is. We're constantly bombarded with, in the water we drink, the air we breathe, the food we eat. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is kind of
Even being in
sprayed.
your car, like it's a concentrator of pollutants.
Yes.
Yeah.
I even
So
got a purifier for my car because I
yeah.
live in Los Angeles. It's very toxic. you know,
You know what I
there's so much
did?
you can do.
I removed the door of mine so that
Yeah.
at least it's not encased.
Yeah. I mean, do we have to build a bubble around us? How do we avoid this? We can't,
No.
and we can't go
Yeah.
crazy about it. We do our best,
Yeah.
but, we still have to do,
A
more
part of it.
hardcore
Yeah,
treatments.
I think that we're in your good shape, good health, having a bit of exposure to toxicity, it's no big deal because it helps your system to build
Correct.
stronger.
Correct.
But when you're in deficient immunity or a state of wellness, it gets harsh on your body, and this is where the breaking point comes into
Correct.
perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Like everybody's fine until they're not, and
Right.
you get exposed to one thing after another, and then that's it. The body breaks down.
Yeah, accumulation.
Mhm.
Fighting the inflammation, there's several techniques today. Not all of them have been proven back to the bone of it, but infrared therapy, cold plunges, or ice baths. Were you using these biohacks as well?
Not the cold plunge. That's still on my to-do list.
I can teach
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Yes, sauna and the cold plunge.
Yeah.
My body was so sensitive to
The
temperature.
stress. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
stress on the body, I could not handle. Like even sauna, even going outside in the sun would like crush me. Like I
Wow.
couldn't, yeah, I was really, really sick and I couldn't handle even that. So right now I'm way better and I can handle something like this. So I'm planning to try saunas and the cold plunges
Yeah.
because I
Not
know how great they are for the
They
body, of
are.
course.
They are. Yeah. So you're not planning to move to Miami. It's too hot.
No, it's still so humid. No.
Yeah. Well, the benefit of cold plunge are not all proven yet, but it apparently helps the body to fight inflammation. We're lacking a couple of studies on that, but still, we have backup. And I can teach you how to stay 40 minutes in cold plunges.
Woody.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the talk I do is actually about that, the resilience of the brain and building up your optimum state of resistance to cold. But
Mhm.
anyway, that's another story.
Yes.
When I'll be on your podcast,
Okay. All right.
and but red light therapy probably you were doing.
Yes, I do. Absolutely. Every day. I love
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Oh, you do it every day. Yeah.
Every day. Every
That's
day. And then I take methylene blue and I do the red light therapy that helps activate the blue. And that's one of my favorite hacks.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's a very cool one. Curiosity, meditation.
Yes, I do meditation. Not daily. I wish I did, but that's something that's definitely I do. Definitely weekly. That's my
Yeah,
weekly.
it's probably it's important now that you see your brain getting back to all these neural pathway and building up again the connection. And this is the beautiful proof that our brain can be into neuroplasticity. Whatever it's been exposed before, you can rebuild anything.
Absolutely.
Magical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, meditation helps on that sense. So maybe increasing the length of meditation or the number of time per week could probably
Mhm.
help you to get back on full reading and things like that. Would be exciting to see.
Yes, absolutely.
It could be a nice study to run by some researcher on you. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Now that you are getting back on track, what are your goals?
Oh God. To live life to the fullest. My
Yeah.
God, I lost so much time, but I try not to dwell on it. I try to see, positives in my struggles. I learned a lot. I'm sharing my story. I'm learning every day something, that's how it is. I'm actually signed up for to get my private pilot license. So I'm gonna fly.
Nice. Fly, that's one.
Yes, yes.
One that I do recommend you, jump.
Oh yes, that was also on my
Skydiving.
bucket list. So first I'll fly,
Oh,
then I'll jump.
yeah, you have to. If you go up, you have to go down the
You need to
other
go
way.
down somehow, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
that's
the
my
truth.
way of gonna, getting back into, getting my brain back on track, learning something new, pushing myself, and there's of course fear involved, will I go back? And that's just how I work with my body is I throw myself at these new things to make sure that, and to learn to
Yeah,
handle it. Yes, because
that's the only way that you reconnect your brain and you explore a new world, you make new connection, you make new learnings, and that's the way that when you said live my life to the fullest, that's the only way to do it. So you're 40 something.
yes.
Do you think that you're gonna have babies?
I don't know. I don't know.
Very cool.
I don't know. Maybe,
Yeah.
I can always adapt if,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's something. But
Yeah.
for now, I'm just trying to enjoy my life and, get back to my old self because I feel like I lost
20
myself
years.
along the way a little
Yeah.
bit. And so I'm kind of rebuilding it.
Yeah, and you have this spirit of the warrior that you can go after things, and so it doesn't matter. Some people lose or waste their life differently, not with illness. It's way harsher, but they lose their life having a shitty job and going 9 to 5 to a work they hate, trying to copy the neighbor just to prove themselves that they're existing, and sitting on the couch on Sundays, and they turn their 50 and they're just like, oh damn, I wasted my life. Now you're not going to turn to I'm going to try to live it to the fullest. Just
Yes.
like keep going that way, so at least you've been through that hell, and
Yes.
you still have the energy to say like, okay, now it's time to have fun.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to travel more, see the world, reconnect with people because, when I was really sick, I lost a lot of my connections and I couldn't really be a good friend to anybody, So right now I'm reconnecting with people, other human beings. It's a wonderful feeling.
It's important
Having conversations. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That is the number one factor of longevity, the connection with people and
Yes.
socialization,
Yes.
and even for your brain is one of the most beneficial things to do. So when you said I was not a good friend, I don't think that you should say that. It's probably your friend were not good enough to be around you at that time. I would, if I can
Yeah.
say.
Yes, that is also true.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't want to say that.
This is the problem with like many people. They're around you when you bring them an advantage or something. So as soon it's not for interest, they disappear. And when people get sick, they disappear. Or when people are in trouble, they disappear. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be the opposite.
Should be the opposite, yes. But you find out who your friends are through difficult times or the lack of friends, and that's what happened. It's just people have disappeared.
Yeah, but probably now that you're back on track, they're gonna come back with all sorts of excuses and stories to tell you.
Yes.
But since you're a warrior, you'll know exactly what to answer.
Yes.
And keep on your path.
Yes, I've learned a lot. I have to say, I've learned a lot.
You mentioned me on an email that your boyfriend or husband was going through some problems as well.
Yes. During this time, I've been married for about 20 years, and my husband also was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome and then Lyme. So along the way, and we were exposed to mold together. We were exposed to gas leak together. So we had, few similar exposures. And he really got worse to, being bedridden, also unable to speak, laying in the dark room with, very sensitive to sound. He lost the ability to even eat. We had to feed him. And so for all these years, for not all these years, but for about 12 years, not only was I struggling with my health, I had to be a caregiver for my husband,
Most
which
people,
was
yeah,
extra hellish.
yeah. Why don't you go for election? You could be a president.
I should run, yes.
Yeah, definitely. Like the model of resilience, it's you. Not even a question on that.
I don't know how I got through it. I have to tell you. I'm going,
Wow.
I'm going back in my head and I'm like, how did I survive through this? But you're in that zone, you just do it. You get through that. You get through difficult times and you just keep going because you're in survival mode and you're helping somebody else survive.
Now I want to dig into this. I'm intrigued. You are in the survival mode. You are on mainly your reptilian brain functioning like I need to survive. I need to do that. It's a way of normally for most people the reptilian brain will trigger the fight and flight and you go away or you escape as much as you can. But you stay, you fight, and you're on the fight mode. If your brain was not totally efficient, like you said, it was foggy most of the time, not clear, had difficulties to put your mind all together. What drove you to that mind? Do you think it's like in the root of your spirit and it's why, or it was something like an external energy that you were getting? Can you explain me where is this like flow? You trigger the flow state to get into this fight, permanent fight. It's not a fight of 10 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
It's a fight of 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you stay there fighting, but your brain is not functional enough in certain point. How did you get the piece put together to be there, to stay there?
I don't know. I don't know if we're born with it or how is it, that I was fighting like this, but I know gymnastics actually it was so brutal to me, but it taught me the discipline to fight, to train, no matter what, no matter how hard it was. So it's one thing I'm thankful for, that they taught me to keep going.
Yeah,
And
well,
I think that's that mindset because I started when I was so young, like 2 years old. They threw me in
wow,
that,
wow.
so that's, you're a baby. And I was training from then on till about I was 7 years old when I left. But even those few years taught me to be very disciplined. And
Wow.
after that, I went into diving and dancing. So, more sports. I
Yeah,
think just
yeah.
sports in general is huge in training our minds to be focused and to keep going.
Well, two factors are that gymnastic is the sport that triggers most neuron at the same time in terms of neuroplasticity because of the connection in different parts of the body that you don't have with other sports. That's one thing. And the second is the age you were in, 2 to 7. We know that the brain of kids up to 6, 7, it's where everything is created.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
yeah, you got a fantastic point there, accumulating both gymnastic and the mindset at that age probably made you who you are today.
I think so too.
Yeah, that could be an interesting book to write.
Yes, I'm thinking about it.
You should. You should.
Okay.
Well, your story in general needs to have a book written on it. It's just like with all the steps and everything, we went through different phases of your life, but in details, I wouldn't exchange 10 minutes of my life for 1 minute of yours during that
Yes.
time. Not,
Yes.
today, it's a different
Yes.
story.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
yeah, hard time.
It
But you're
was,
here.
yes, I'm here. I'm alive. Not only I'm doing good, I'm able to have this conversation and be okay, whereas even 5 minutes of talking like this, a few years ago would cream me for like a week.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's incredible because we set this podcast a few months ago,
Yeah.
and I remember you were writing me. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to speak for an hour
Yes.
with you.
Yes.
I don't know how it's going to go, and you didn't want to have your face on the camera as
Yes.
well, and many factors. But I'm blessed to, just because you're here, you're showing up, you're intelligently explaining and answering every single question in
Mhm.
deep. So it's awesome. And if you come back in a year, you're gonna you're gonna smash it
Yes, I will. Yes, I
more than this
will. Yes.
time.
Looking forward to that. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you know what? Because now that you're stepping into, I want to live my life entirely. I want to keep up seeing what you do. I want to see when you're going to get your pilot's license and all
Yes,
these things.
yes.
And then how do you feel? How do you grow through these things? It's a beautiful story, honestly.
Thank
It's
you.
it's
Thank
an
you.
example for many out there that spend their time saying that they're too tired to go outside just to take a walk.
No, no.
They can walk. You couldn't.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I have to breathe and say thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And it was a thrill having you. It's just like, it's insane how far you're gonna go, and from where you're coming from. It's a beautiful story. Thank you for being our guest on No Plan B today.
Thank you for
And,
having me.
yeah,
It was a real pleasure. Thank you.
It's awesome. I'd like people, if they want to learn more about you, because it's gonna be people that they want to learn more. They probably want to connect with you. The best way is like to go on your Instagram account.
Yes, and I have an email there that they can contact me, or DM. I read most of my DMs as much as I possibly can. But email would be the best. The email, yeah.
Well, if you can keep up with all the DMs, you have a few millions followers, I think.
Yes, yes, yes.
that keeps you busy for sure.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna put on the video. We're gonna put your Instagram account so people can reach out to you there. Thank you, Elena. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you.
Stay tuned.